Hello, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Raise a Glass. And today we'll be taking a very, very major topic that a lot of people talk about. But before we delve into the major topic, my name is Showdown. I'm also known as Storyteller, and I'm here with my co-host, the brilliant, beautiful Priscilla Amadi.
Yes, also known as the service culture evangelist for those who ask. And those who didn't ask, yes, I'm also the lead consultant and the customer experience strategist as well. So yes, to everyone who cares to listen, we are here for another wonderful episode of Raise a Glass. Hope you are ready for today's gist, guys, because you don't even know what's coming, right, Shemu?
Yeah. So ensure you subscribe, ensure you like, ensure you share, ensure you leave a comment, and share to your friends, family, and your frenemies or enemies. You want to see them also.
We love our enemies very well. Yes, enemies.
And today we have a brilliant guest with us. I've known him for some time. We met over social media, specifically on LinkedIn, and from there we built a relationship over time.
Yes.
And he's here with us, and he's a very renowned barrister, right?
Jimmy, I love
and he's also known as Investor Jimmy as well. And we'd like him to please introduce himself to us in just a few seconds.
Yes, good to be here. My name is Sesi Hundeyin. I'm a lawyer, mostly in real estate and litigation. Yeah, I'm a barrister too because I go to court. So barrister. I also do non-court matters as a solicitor. I practiced law in Nigeria for a decade and counting. And yeah, we met over social media, over LinkedIn, done a couple of things together with both of you. Yes. As my client, as my friends, done collaborations together and it's been fun. I'm happy to be here. I'm ready to spill the tea. Can we start already?
They're not ready. And you know what's so coincidental about today's topic? Social media related stuff.
Yeah.
The fact that we all met on
social media.
And we built relationship on social media.
Yeah.
And now we are here to talk. And now we've taken it off social media.
Yeah.
And now we are here to talk about social media. We cannot wait to spill the tea. Let me sip my drink.
So thank you. All right. So today's hot take that we are going to be saying or talking about, or the conversation we are going to be dwelling in, is talking about house rent. Specifically when people want to rent house in Lagos. I mean, for the past, I don't know, I think it's this year. This year has been the craziest year for people. Maybe.
Is it this year like 2024?
2020, well, it's maybe around that time.
Yeah.
Even everybody looking for house to rent has the same challenge or has similar challenge. And I think that the only people that probably have been able to even the people that are able to overcome it, they just do it just like, oh, let me just do it. So the real challenge here is that we've seen that too many a time, the rent, and aside from the rent, the agency fee, the caution fee, and the everything makes the rent too obnoxious for people.
Yeah.
You have a 1 bedroom going for as much as 1.5 million or 2 million, and you are wondering what exactly is special about the place. Is it the POP? Because now when they put POP, it becomes overly expensive. Is it POP that makes house rent expensive? And then we see that the agents are just charging their own 400k, their own 500k out of it. So what do you think about this rising trend? Because it's causing a lot of troubles. People are saying they are going back to their father's house, so their mother's house happy. Do you understand? So that we don't pay this exorbitant fee in Lagos. What do you think about this trend? Because personally, I think it is too much to ask of people. Is there a law that people can, I'll shift this one to Sesi. Do you understand?
Law.
So what law is available as someone wants to rent a house so that they don't take advantage of me? How much are we even earning? Right? That you want me to pay
minimum
2
wage
million.
is like less than 30. No, official rate. The one that's actually being paid is like 30 something ish, yeah? And then your rent is now like, what?
1.5.
It's like over 500x the amount of whatever it is that you're earning. At what point do they stop? It's not even about POP. I'm talking like when you finish paying that ridiculous amount, you still have to put that house in order.
Yes.
That's the one that makes me mad. Like you guys couldn't find money between the exorbitant amounts being collected to even hire a cleaner to clean up the place. You'd clean up, you'd paint, you'd repair the terrible carpentry work.
Facilities.
So please, would love to hear all the legal ramifications and even, notify our viewers of all the things that they may not have known that these people are taking advantage. Right?
It's a very, very serious issue.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say under the law, agents that help you find an apartment, they are doing illegal business. It's not illegal. It's actually legal. It's proper. And in Lagos State, where we are in Lagos State, there's a law known as the Lagos State Real Estate Regulatory Authority Law. This law regulates everything about real estate in Lagos State. There are two parts of real estate. You have tenancy and you have developing. Tenancy is when you want to rent, development is when you want to buy land, develop land, build house, development. Now, under tenancy, the law says that an agent that helps you find a place or is acting for a landlord or acting for you, the tenant, to get a place, is that to 10%. 10%.
So now it depends on who calls who.
Yeah, well, so the law is not even clear on who calls who, but if justice was principal means that I ask you to do agency work for me. Agency work means represent me either as a landlord or as a tenant. So ideally, each party should pay his
10%, Abby.
Each party, so landlord pays you or tenant pays you, or we share the 10% equally. 5% for me, 5% for them. We'll pay all the agents. Ideally. But in Nigeria.
Okay, so there's one scenario before you break. Let me break your thoughts. You gotta find the house yourself. And they will still insist you pay agency fee. Please, can you clarify
So it depends on how, so for example, now I have a house and I put a banner there. As an agent, please get me a tenant, and the tenant the agent puts his banner, his number is there. Whether or not you come by yourself, I'll tell you that I have an agent, plan called agent. So even if you came and saw the banner yourself and it's your own, you still have to go to the agent, because I don't want to deal with tenants.
And you should pay the agent now.
So that's where I'm coming to. So if you see my banner on a place and you said you walked in and you saw the banner and you like the house and you just agree, so you have to pay commission to that agent. Because I've asked him, he could have well gotten tenants for me. But since I've come to him now, I can agree on what fee I would pay this person for agency. Now, this is more interesting where the tenants ask an agent to help me find the house.
Exactly.
And the landlord has also asked another agent to help him put the house in the market. So we have two agents. But most of the time, these things are not disclosed, and you end up paying all these crazy fees. So I think that the Nigerians, first of all, are looking for an apartment. At that moment, the tenant is king. Because, yes.
In which country?
Is the reality. I've asked for tenants where they hired me as a lawyer, and we are king. How did we do it?
I've never been king since I've been getting houses.
It's because you don't hire me. Hire me, you'll be king. I like that note. So now, when tenant hires us to help him with the process, we say, okay, we have this client. He's our client. We are lawyers. We want to just look at the agreement. Now, he's not going to pay agency fee. He's not paying. And even if he wants him to pay, he can't pay 10% because he has his own agents already. So we can give you maybe 2% or whatever it is, because he's already paying his agent 10%. He can't pay twice. That's double jeopardy. So we can agree with you. So if you start to get an apartment, you should ask yourself, who is my agent? Because they've bastardized the word agents in this country. Agents in law, theory level law, in commercial law, in school, university. Agency is simply somebody acting on another person's behalf. To catch your instruction. Help me get an apartment. That helping me, you go and help me. You're my agent. Landlord is not my agent. But most of the time.
But we are the ones paying landlord agent.
Yes, because we don't put our feet down on, when I got my office, right, there was one agent, and I was the agent for the landlord. I got this house through somebody that was very close to me and told me this house is available. But this is the agent that the landlord asked to rent out this office. So I want to meet the agent. I want to pay. He told me, pay this. I will ask him this fee collecting. I'll slash it. I don't have money. And he agreed. It was meant to, so it was even more than 10% then. But I had to negotiate and say, no, you now brought the fee down. I only paid one person. Because he told me, I was ready for any drama. My house rent, same thing. When I got my apartment too, the same area. There were actually two agents there. The person that I told, my church, enough other people who now knew the landlord. And landlord finally now knew that I was the one. And he said, okay, he will deal with me directly. But of course, I'll engage these people. I must pay them. So I ended up paying them parts, and I paid the landlord agent parts. That's how I skilled out, but it was not actually.
The landlord's agent.
Yes.
You are back to it again.
You're back to it again.
Landlord, go and call agent. Why am I paying the landlord's
So,
agent?
like I said earlier,
Yeah.
he has put the house. The landlord will not deal with you because as an agent he has commissioned to let out the apartment. So anybody coming as an agent, even if he's licensed or otherwise, you say, I'm an agent, meet the agent and route everything through. Once he tells me it's okay, we can pay to my account. So you have that issue. Number one, when you have two agents, what should you do that? Okay, who is the landlord agent? Who is my own agent? And how much am I paying? I'm not paying anything outside statutory fee, 10%. So my own agent, 5%. Landlord agent, 5%. Or I'll pay my agents, I'll pay your agents. You have to specify it there and then that look, and in fact, the law is Tenancy of Lagos State 2011 says that the agency will be paid. This is explicit, and I'm sure I don't follow this thing. The agency will be paid by the person who is engaging the professional.
Exactly. That's what exactly.
The agency, and even if let me come to, I'm a lawyer, let me even come to my own industry, my own, because we have our own issues. The agency and the legal fee will be paid by the person engaging the professional.
Exactly.
So if the landlord is saying, give an agreement, now, tenancy agreement, which I believe everybody should have an agreement. Who did the agreement?
Exactly.
The landlord's lawyer. So pay your lawyer your 10%, not me. Of course, I'm paying you rent, you can move the money and pay. But once I say no, pay agency, pay agency, pay legal. Tenants to bear the cost and give the money to it's wrong.
So now,
it's very wrong.
You are highlighting a lot of wrong things.
It's wrong. Yeah. So
how do we checkmate the excesses
of
all these wrong things?
In a market, in a free market economy, it is the market that corrects itself. Governments will make laws, but markets will correct. So as a tenant, number one, it's your right to pay these fees, but know that you're not to pay for a profession that you didn't engage. If we all agree in this room that will not pay, the landlords will pay, they'll pay their lawyers and agents, and everybody will be okay. So the market is correct. Government, of course, can also, but this is a commercial transaction. Government can always say, go to jail for this. You have to be the one to correct the market, stand your ground. Once you do that, I believe that they'll start seeing that, we'll start making adjustment, and before you know it, we can correct it.
That makes a lot of sense. Me too, I've had that experience in Kano. When I wanted to marry you, you're not telling me 50%. Me that raised that 10% part. I did not agree. I sat on that thing. I'm like, no. So when I kept saying 10%, the agent now looked at me like, oh, this person really knows. And they now allowed me to carry my wahala and go. But of course, my other neighbors.
But it's not wahala now.
It's wahala.
It's not wahala. If you are stamping your ground or something, it's not wahala.
Right.
You are in Nigerian society. The more right you are and the more you scream that you are right, the more a wahala person you are. Are we not in this country? Are we not in this country? The person, that neighbor that is always going with subsection constitution, those neighbors now, that they sleep with the agreement. If the landlord come and say no, say, that's not what we agreed on. According to subsection. The other,
they'll serve you to
they'll say you are troublesome.
They'll serve you.
The first chance the landlord gets, you are leaving his property. Carry a wall and go. But if everybody is like him, going to meetings with constitution, lawyer will say, these open tenants, they know their right. It has not known their right. But if it's one person, it's wahala song. So please, it's not that it's wahala. It's just that most of us just allow some things to just fly under the radar. Either because we are too lazy to reach the agreement, or we are too having too much sense to engage in services.
So I don't step our grounds on our rights.
Stand your grounds. We are ashamed. Some of us are afraid of what other people think. So I think it's our rights to correct those things. That's what I think.
Yeah, thank you very much, Priscilla, and thank you, Sesi. You've all mentioned very salient points that anybody who is ready to, take up a house, you need to do a little bit of research on your own, aside from just engaging an agent, so that nobody takes advantage of you, and then you now find out at the end of the day, you end up paying an amount that you are not supposed to pay. So it's also your responsibility, aside, because the other parties, they just want your money at the end of the day. At the background is just about the money. So also try and do your own research. So, thank you for that. All right. So we're going to delve into today's topic, and today's topic is very critical. I mean, we've spoke about it earlier where we said that, social media and its impact. While there's been a lot of, I'll say advantages than disadvantages of using social media, there are some consequences also of using social media. And one that's really piqued my interest is freedom of speech. In our land here, Nigeria, Well, I don't know about abroad. I think it also happens there. We talk about freedom of speech and the ability to say is in our constitution that you can say whatever you like. I want to believe that you can say whatever you like. But the challenge is when you say whatever you like, somebody's knocking on your door and you are in handcuff or they are locking you down somewhere. But it's freedom of speech. I should be able to write what I want to write. But before you know, I'm in handcuff. So would I be able to write what I want on social media if we claim that there is freedom of speech as it is? Because I have to caution myself. Priscilla, what do you think?
We have the lawyer here, but I think that typically you have a right to express yourself, but you're not allowed to say things that are either incorrect. You are not allowed to just go and maybe tarnish someone's image in because you can say anything you like. Example, I can say that let me just call maybe an individual Mr. John. I can say, oh, Mr. John is a rapist because I can say it, right? But is that correct? Is Mr. John a rapist? We all know the legal implications that comes with calling someone a rapist. You all know the societal implications that come from calling someone a racist. So a rapist rather. So if I say, oh, because I have freedom of speech, I can say whatever I like, then I now call Mr. John a rapist. Did he rape your great grandmother? No. Did he rape your sister? No. Where do you come up calling him a rapist? Now it's different from when there's actually a published article, or there's actually something that convicts him or even accuses him as a rapist. You can either refer to that article and say, Mr. John is a rapist. Kindly find attached the article to confirm this. Then you now means that you're drawing your inferences from an already stated fact. So while we are saying, oh, there's freedom of speech, we can say anything we like, especially on social media where everybody's a keypad warrior, it's also very important that you also know that freedom after speech is not guaranteed. You can't go ahead saying whatever you like, however you like, or maybe lie on social media. Let's say now you say, oh, I'm not a PhD holder.
Oh.
Meanwhile, even ceremonial PhD, nobody gives to you. Do you understand? But because I can say anything I like, I either call myself a PhD holder. And then when PhD holders come for you and say, oh, what was your thesis on? What did you do? That's how they're coming after me. They're against my freedom of speech. You don't understand that. You just lied. You literally lied. So those are the, nuances and intricacies. And as social media active individuals and professionals that we are, we know better. We know that you don't just go ahead saying anything. You're an adult. You can type anything. Everybody knows how to write English. English is our lingua franca, but then I would love to hear from our legal counsel here as to what he thinks about the whole freedom of speech situation.
Yeah.
Freedom of speech, interesting. I love that topic so much because without that topic, we'll not even be here having this podcast and airing our views. But you know that as a human being, we all have the ability to speak and to express ourselves. But if as a human being, when you are a child, have you ever felt when someone lied against you?
It's so
in primary school, when someone just said,
your chest
she stole that sweet, and like, how, where? Like, I will start crying.
No, they cry.
Sometimes, like those primary school, play and everything.
Some wicked ones, wicked children will now deal with you.
So you know that tells you the implication of the impact of when things are not true, are said. And people actually say these things as if they are true.
And they're incorrect.
They're incorrect. So it's wrong. So the law generally says that every Nigerian has freedom of expression. You can write, you can speak, you can come on any platform. Even before this internet, whatever was a thing, social media. The law has been there. Section 39 of the Constitution says you have freedom of speech. But the law also gives a balance and say there's nothing in that Constitution, in that section, that will invalidate any law that is acceptable in a democratic society. That is for national security, for good policy, for different reasons, or laws that regulates people, that regulates things. There's just any law regulating how we communicate. For example, in movies, if you're producing a movie that is, kids should not see those movies, starting with violence or without some nudity. You would say rated below. You can't say because you have freedom of speech, you're just going to do a movie and just show where children are because you're expressing yourself. No. That's against public policy, against morality, against good conscience. So you can't do that. You can't say certain things where certain people are. You must be careful of the impact on them. So the law has already restricted our ability to use our freedom in a way that will be negative. But now the issue now is that how far should the law go? That's another discussion. Yeah. But generally, you have freedom of speech. It is your right. But like she said, no, that speech is not guaranteed.
A lawyer quoted me.
It's not guaranteed. It's not in the law though. But I'll bring it back from now.
Guaranteed.
So generally, even like I said about someone lying against you, if someone says something that is wrong against you, like even you go to court and say, I want to make an affidavit now, you lie on that oath, it's a crime. So you go to jail. Yeah. Then now you say something wrong against someone, you defend someone's character, you say something that is not true against them, and it affects their reputation.
It will typically affect
because people in society now, before even say it's not true, they form an opinion about that this person is a thief.
Yeah.
Okay, imagine that somebody sent you a message on your phone now and say that Priscilla is owing us money, all these little apps now, and says Priscilla is a ritualist and this and that, and it's not true.
Beware of Priscilla.
Before you even correct that impression, you've lost deals, endorsements, reputation has been destroyed. So who now pays for that? That's why defamation law is still there, even though you have freedom of information. Yeah, you can't defame some character and say, oh, I didn't know it was a mistake and I have freedom of information.
Oops,
I have freedom of...
Sorry.
No.
Oops, I made a mistake.
You have to pay. You have to pay for that. So that's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. That's well defined. I mean, that's well defined within all the parameters that we've talked about. And that brings me to the second point, which is, what can I do as a redress? I go online and somebody types and says, you did XYZ and I'm not happy with it. What is the next course of action? Can I call in a lawyer and say, this person has defamed me, right? So at what point is it defamation of character? Or at what point is it, somebody saying something that is against what I do, and can I take a certain, because there was a tweet I saw someone said, the person just said it. It doesn't mean that the person was referring to a quoted tweet or something. So it doesn't mean that. So, within all this communication thing, there's always some loopholes or gaps that people just try to put themselves in to absorb themselves for what situation in. So at what point can I engage services of lawyer?
So let's talk about social media right now. If you write something or you say it like I'm doing, or you put in any medium that is published, it's libel. When you say with your mouth, like to state third person to his face that you are a thief, that's slander. Someone needs to hear you have said it. I mean, like a witness to prove, to substantiate. But libel, once you can prove that it's published on a definite platform, before this internet era, libel is basically on maybe paper form, magazine, newspaper, on TV. But now you have social media, which is also a medium of communication. So if someone says something wrong against you, that is false, and it lowers your estimation before people in society. Like now you are a media person, and suddenly, this guy is not credible. These things have a working in people's mind, like, Sheon did this thing. Even you're not, it's working, and they're like, it's calling me, this guy is a fraudster, I don't want to pick his call. And you're really losing deals. So the moment you see that thing, this thing would likely, it's not even until it does, it will likely make you, ruin your reputation, or as already, or it's still doing it. You can make an action against the person. All you need to do that, was it something said against me? Where was it said? How was it said? And if a layman, we'll call anybody that's not even a lawyer, anybody can read that statement and say, this thing person say, this is actually very, very injurious to somebody. If you put a reasonable man and say, read this thing that was talking about me, what do you think? So this thing is hurtful. It's painful. Once a reasonable man can say that, without even, because you're just shame, why are you overreacting? But if a reasonable man can say this thing is actually wrong, at that point you have an action. So you can go to court, you can write a letter of demand saying, retract and apologize. Retracting means that go to that platform and say, what I said was wrong. The people that saw the first one are saying that, this guy, Shehu is not really this person, because this person has apologized. And that also suffices. Shehu, someone said you are a thief. I said, no, I'm not a thief. Look at what happened. The person actually was doing phone and look at his apology. That's why you say you should apologize. So that will be your defense against that false statement. You can also go for damages, which is money. Because there's no money that can compensate your reputation you have built over the years. Your goodwill, your good name. I mean, it's been years of, LinkedIn. As someone else says on LinkedIn, your enemy is a fraudster. Come on, I can't you now start trying to repair that. So
and the thing is, a lot of people run along with it.
They do. On that moment, you can start tweeting, reposting it, and at that moment, before you even damage control, you've lost a lot. So you can even ask for money. Say, yes, I forgive you. I'm a Christian. I move on. But pay me. Pay me $1 billion.
For the damages.
Because you can't even repair.
Exactly.
But just pay me just give me. So next time you be careful with your keypad. I have a client now in court for someone on Instagram. This person is a reputable in our industry, she's reputable in our industry. And she has gotten results, which I know about. And someone I called her terrible names, terrible parts, horrible things, and are not true.
Yeah.
This person lives outside the country. Mm-hmm. And you think that, Nigeria cannot catch me. I'm like, madam, don't worry, let's do the case first. Let's win the case. I want to win this case. We'll get her in that country. It's the easiest thing to do is to get her in that country. We'll take judgment there and enforce it in that country. And she will pay. So don't even arrest her police, just leave police and don't go to police. Just let us do a civil case, win our case, put it back on the internet, and look, we won this case. And then this person, all you heard was false. Secondly, you are asking for money. And give us dollar equivalent to that money. Give us dollars, $1. You get it. So if she sees that person next time, I want to say something is wrong, she'll be careful.
Extremely careful.
It's just to act as the time to people that are being, they react on the moment and they cannot bring facts. Even if someone having a spat with you, before you say anything about that person, you must be substantiated. Otherwise, they say you grant for a lawsuit and you will pay. It might take 2 years, 3 years, doesn't matter. Once the law finds that you are right and the person was wrong, the person that was wrong will be asked to pay. That's it. So it's quite effective. It works. It does.
So in my own opinion, right, I think, or rather, here's a question I have for you. What point is too far in social media and the freedom of speech?
So I'll use 2 scenarios. Scenario 1, we and the government, political rants, political activities, and 2, citizens and citizens. Now with you and the government, it's tough because our country is growing, is developing, and there are lots of dysfunction that we see around that makes you pissed off. Oh, the governor of Lagos is not working. What is he even doing himself?
Or Lagos is smelling.
That is even correct. I'm talking about people attacking authorities
Someone
now.
Someone
was dragged for I heard
but
that.
Really, was arrested?
She left the country.
Was arrested?
No. The person lost their job.
Okay.
She was made to.
Because
it was a whole lot of drama.
Sacked her.
Yes.
Really?
I thought she left because of her safety, something like that.
Wow.
Something like that, because she said Lagos is dead.
People that are defending Lagos actually went after her. People of Lagos in quotes.
They went after her.
So that is not really defamation. When Lagos is smelling, it's a general statement. I'm talking about authorities now. The governor of Lagos State, what's he even doing? Or all these people who serve in power, they are very insensitive. So those things are subjective, and they are, because if I'm not sensitive.
But it's a question now.
I say the governor is not sensitive or applied to the people. Right? The truth is that I've not said anything. That is not, as a governor, you're in public service, and you'll be held accountable for your actions in that seat. Not as someone as any other governor, but as a governor, people will say things about you. But are they true? Are there things you can infer that these things, there are some inferences that maybe it's not really true or false, but these things there are issues that you need to settle as a government or as a people. So that I would say yes, you can actually criticize people, but constructively. You can write opinions, and it can be very strongly worded. That's democracy, because you have to have opposition views. You can even use very strong words. When you now start going personal, Sanwo-Olu is a rapist. The governor is a fraudster. The governor stole government money. How did you, if you say that the way this thing was done, there are inferences that there was graft, there was corruption, that's generic. When you start saying that they actually stole money, or we saw them embezzling money, or the governor embezzled money, and he went to be that in Dubai, they have gone specific. And you must prove that one. Okay. When you just say that, the way things are being run in Lagos State, the way you're handling power, or you're handling education, things don't add up. Those are generic statements. When you start going specific and saying that somebody committed a crime, or someone did something wrong, and you are very sure about the personality, now, the person can actually go after you. And say, governor, yes, I have immunity. You cannot sue me, but you have gone to my personal life, not my office. I gone to my personal and saying that I as a person did this thing. Where did you? So I've seen Osebajo, my person, actually with people. I'm saying she will try as a statement because it's not personal. I've seen people, even leaders who have actually asked others to write letters because they've crossed the line from politics, from activism to personal attacks. So yes, you can I would say that the line is that you can do these things, but don't say things that you can't substantiate. Subsidy was removed and government said this amount of money was saved and that, they've increased the they've increased the allocation of state and local governments. Yes, but we are not seeing the result of the increased allocation. That's a generic statement that they have said it. I didn't say they stole money. I didn't say they put the benefits in their pocket. I'm just saying that we are not seeing when there was no subsidy that was removed and there's no difference.
Mm-hmm.
And people can actually say, yeah, it's true.
Mm-hmm.
That is generic and it's not information. When people now start attacking people for that and imprisoning them, then they are now crossing the line of free speech. They're trying to restrict free speech. They're trying to restrict opposition
Opinion.
Because free speech is not only when I say what you like, it's when I say what I
see and what I
see, my own opinion about the situation, not necessarily what the government of the day wants.
Then how is citizen to citizen?
The citizen to citizen, as I said, about defamation and, you citizen to citizen, don't say things that are not true.
Mm-hmm.
Things you cannot substantiate. Things that that you're just saying it to get at somebody. If you
provoke them,
if you say it, you better be ready to, so that otherwise there'll be a case.
Mm-hmm.
And it can actually be criminal or civil. I think I'll talk about that.
Depending on
the person. Can be arrested now. Can be arrested for that. And I'll say why. Maybe I should go and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
And I justify it actually. You can't do that. Yes, can be handcuffed for what you tweet. Or post on LinkedIn or Instagram. Can be handcuffed for that. But we'll talk about that.
What's that thing that you said again? There's freedom of speech, but after
speech is not guaranteed.
Not guaranteed. So at the end of the day, you still have to be cautious.
Responsible.
You still have to be cautious within whatever parameters that is available. So there has to be fact, right? Or maybe just as Priscilla has mentioned, maybe there's an inference from somewhere, from an article, or you have evidence. If there's no proof of what you're saying, you can't just go online. And I see that a lot on social media. People just talk, cho. There is no proof. When you ask them for proof, you now start hearing stories or you start hearing, somebody told me somewhere. There's no proof. There's no evidence. Then you now start seeing people bring receipt of what they said in their DM and look at, you now start explaining yourself that why is this, why is that. But it's such a very important conversation because when you see, okay, for instance, I think I used to see some tweets by, I don't know whether is this PR of the police. I used to see some tweet and I used to wonder that why is the PRO tweeting like this? I don't understand. And then I see the replies of the tweet, their replies, people that reply, I say these people, they have mind though. Because what they reply, and I wonder as to where the line is that they will not come and grab these guys. It's not like me, I don't want to talk about, I cannot guarantee my freedom after speech. That I will say something and they don't come and carry me in my house. Yeah. And I'm using my handle, my own name.
Exactly.
And I'm not using any other name. It's still the same name. But then again, we also, talk about the fact that on social media, there are certain, things that you cannot necessarily publish on some media spaces. Like, what are the things that you can talk about? Because we've seen people being banned from social media for just talking about some specific topics. What are the things that you can actually talk about that won't get you banned away from social media? So if I feel like I want to talk about, for instance, so maybe I'm a journalist, for instance. Maybe I'm like David. Yeah, we all know David. I'm like David. And I want to talk about a certain topic. And people already know me for this topic. But at the back end, people are reporting me to the platform that what I am saying is not true or what I'm saying is a lie because they are the opposition party. At what point, what are the things that I can really talk about at that particular point in time that won't get me banned or get me being reported as because I'm sharing my own personal opinion or perspective of this based on all the things that I know.
Do you mean banned by the society or banned by the
platform? Banned by the particular platform because of what you are saying. Because the people there also are reporting you to the platform. And then you want to log in and you find out that you cannot log in.
Is it something along the lines of violating community policies?
Community policies.
Part of it.
Okay. It's part of it.
Okay. So, but then the question
what I recall easily is Donald Trump. Donald Trump. Donald Trump was banned, although he was actually extreme at the time, but Donald Trump was banned by Twitter for inciting violence. He believed that he won the election and that the elections I mean, they should not have been they should not have been a change of government. Although he was actually, he was patriotic, but he went over because you allow the system to correct itself. Like I said earlier, go to court or whatever tribunal, and the prosecutor banned him because people were actually going to the Capitol Hill to go and protest, and even these policemen all just when you tweeted, there were physical reactions, and if they did not ban him, maybe not for that long, if they had not banned him that moment, at least for a temporarily, maybe I don't know what would have happened. So the platform they have a duty because.
But you do know that he sued Twitter.
Yeah.
And then he got paid damages, 10 million.
I'll consider.
Okay.
So, and I'll say why he won or why they're settling. So, if somebody is saying what is against, like she said, community policy, hate speech, things that are not true, racist remarks, racial slurs, yeah. Religious things, those things are not that. They are saying something about Christians and tribal things.
They list them out.
The platform should not give them visibility. The platform should take them because the platform is a gatekeeper of information.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll be responsible to allow anything just go there. So you must be able to, if people are reporting, not necessarily censoring, but if people...
I was about to say that,
if people are complaining that this person is saying this and it might affect your community policy and affect our own using this platform in a very, very healthy way. You should be able to investigate that.
Yes.
Which is also fair hearing.
Exactly.
Check out if this is true, is it not true, and then you can take an action against the person.
Yes.
Within the law, right? So that is okay. And that's not when it now becomes excessive, the platform was banned for almost forever. If I didn't win the election now, I'm not sure he'll have restored. If he didn't win the elections, he would not have been restored.
Not election. No, he came back before elections.
Are you sure? Was he restored for election? Was he restored?
Yeah, before elections. Before the election.
It was when Elon took over the platform.
Yeah.
Elon had did a poll and said, should Trump come back?
Yeah.
Oh my days. That's what
majority,
majority carried the vote.
Yeah.
Because the argument was that if you say social media is supposed to enable freedom of expression, and then somebody is being stifled for his viewpoint, do you understand? Mm-hmm. That's abuse of opinion. But then people on the other end of the poll have not been banned. He was like one of the I don't think anybody has been taken up and say that much like Trump.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can't tell me that on the other end of the divide there's no other one else that's just
breaching community rules.
Breaching, he may have been doing, but he's much more, vocal and aggressive and all that. So I think that sometimes there should be a balance really. Because you reported me doesn't mean I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Sometimes I may say something that offends you, but it's the truth. You just didn't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And that's why I feel like they should find that middle ground between you. So now I'm on a platform and then you said something I didn't like. Maybe what I'm saying is going to affect the sensibilities of a certain group of people, a certain sect of people. We are humans. Not everybody loves to hear the truth. So but what you're saying is actual documented historical fact. But because it's not palatable towards pushing the agenda of saying, these people are awesome, then they start reporting you. Now, I think the onus is also on the platform to do investigations, but that doesn't usually happen. And that's why I like what happened with, what Elon Musk did, where they have,
opinion. Yeah, a poll.
Not just opinion poll. There are these guys,
fact checkers.
Yeah, people that actually, there's a name they're called, and to think I'm usually on X. Anywho, there are people that will actually fact check on your tweet. Yes, they would, on your tweet, you will get, community notes. Yes.
Okay.
There will be community notes and the community will also vote on that. You see them bringing references as to why what you said is wrong or right. They do that a lot.
Yes.
Now that is the community fact checking that statement. Yeah. So you see, there has to be a balance, while they say freedom of speech and they say freedom of speech and why you're freedoming in the speech, one certain individual or a certain government doesn't like it.
Yeah.
I mean, opposition is not supposed to live.
True.
And if things were right, even if everything is right, but they did not change the white bulb to brown.
Oppose it. Yeah. You have a right to dissent.
Countries, very, 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 very experienced countries still have dissenting voices and oppositions. And opposition makes the world go round. But then again, we are talking about individuals. We've talked about, businesses.
Yeah.
We've even talked about businesses that use social media to, that have fought freedom of speech in social media. The very popular one, Chioma Okoli.
I was coming to that.
Yeah, that's also.
Chioma Okoli.
Yeah. So that one I'll put it, I'll contextualize that under,
Yeah.
when there's an opinion of a person, what's the thin line between an opinion and supposed defamation?
I think in our case, it's a more of experience. It's not opinion. Hers was experience. What she experienced with the product.
Well, so it's an opinion because...
But it's also an opinion.
It's an opinion because there have been no scientific or evidential substantiation of that particular fact, which is still subjective to us. It's not like we have experienced that fact across board and are saying, we ate this, that, and I've also said it.
Yes.
She was the one that said
People were bringing out tweets.
No, she was the one that said it first on the platform.
No, she was not the first person.
Well, that amplified it.
No, she said it. She was picked upon. But she's not the first, second, or third person. You know, I went on air for this.
She's the first person that said I was picked upon, right? And so the thing that, what's the difference between my opinion about now this Fanta drink, right? I saw something Fanta drink, and I say Fanta make killer Fanta. It's a very narrow, like it's so narrow.
People have been paid.
Not even paid. Let's even look at it. Let's look at it objectively. So if I say a product is bad, and that product is injurious, that I saw something in the product is harmful, which is true. But I see an insight in this product now, in this drink, it is obviously true. Yeah. Let's say I saw ring on me or something like a very annoying creature in this drink. You know, science that this thing is actually harmful to me. At that moment, this to me, just this drink. But you cannot say that
generalize and say Fanta is bad.
Fanta make harmful drinks.
Don't take it.
But that's not what she said.
No, that's what the product, the company is latching down.
That's what they are reading as the reputation is being ruined.
Yeah, that's your own singular opinion, or we call it facts. Publication have been published now. It's capable of, in fact, it has already put their brand in bad lights.
And probably
defamation of their brand.
They were losing because her statement was very clear.
So
this is the experience I'm having.
Yeah.
See how I said something along the lines of, this is the experience I'm having with Erisco Foods. It's too sugary. Who else is experiencing this?
Yeah.
That's why her counsel, Ilibehe, was very adamant on the abuse of authority.
But from the company's perspective, they are like,
about the perspective,
you are,
the statement.
Yes, there's a statement, but the company is saying that you are saying that all our, you're generalizing it.
She asked very clearly, who else is experiencing this? So she said, this tomato I'm buying, this is something along the lines of, this is the first time I'm using this tomato and it's very sugary. And you know what was amazing? At the back of this thing, they did not publish the actual content of ingredients in that tomato. So which means you can't even say, oh, you saw
this percentage of sugar, this particular,
yes, according, so it was just a lot. And then it makes you feel, and that's why I love companies. I think after her case, is that the next month or the next week, Gino had a similar situation.
Somebody published something.
Somebody published.
Really? She just wrote a very short Facebook post. This Gino person did video. Did video, not only condemning the thing, but showing him throwing away his food.
What's that?
Gino apologized.
Okay.
Gino went to the person to investigate further and even compensated him with a pack of Gino products.
Wow. So I don't
and that's why, if you remember, the FCCPC was on Chioma's side. They supported her. The consumer, FCCPC, they supported her. The first time she was arrested, they were very involved in getting her out when she was taken from Lagos to Abuja. Because again, in FCCPC Act, consumers can report or complain about an item. In fact, that particular complaint that Chioma did was supposed to activate investigation from FCCPC. And that's why FCCPC was like, we are supposed to be investigating this.
Not to victimizing her.
It was
so I think for people like that, so the line between your opinion and generalizing, and if you think that what someone said about you in particular content is generalization, then let the law take its course. Don't criminalize it.
Exactly.
So let's test, because you see, we want to build a country like this. You have to be litigious. Litigation is important so that when the courts make pronouncements on, because they have pieces of information that have been dealt over the years.
Yeah.
But now this is not like a bit novel on the internet. Someone said this and we feel this person generalized and it's defamed us. Is it true? Let the evidence be brought to the court. Let the court. So I don't have anything against them going against Chairman in civil action. But criminal, I felt it was a bit above because for criminal, you have the Cybercrime Prohibition Act and it says cyber stalking, pornography picture, all of those things you cannot do against somebody or publish online. But I don't think what she did was cyber stalking.
It was not
I don't think what she did was
she was being stalked.
and although they say it was annoying, capable of this, but I don't think so. Just we overreacted, right? So, but she has given an opinion that she can substantiate. She had something. But can she now say the entire product? That's another kettle of fish.
And that's what she didn't say.
So that's where,
her statement was very
that's where the
clear.
person who are, so I think for people who are listening out there, if you have an opinion to make about something, or about somebody, in a context, leave it to that context. But the moment you start saying it's everybody's general, you're telling her the hot soup.
Yeah.
Your freedom of speech, you enjoy it, but not after speech.
Freedom
you
after
speech. You enjoy it. So please,
you know that
draw the
freedom
line
after speech
between context specific, publications that you know are true, is true.
I agree.
And generic ones. Don't use your experience to generalize.
Yeah.
Even if it might be true.
Yeah.
Because you cannot prove it yet.
Yeah.
Stick to that context. Otherwise, you might land in trouble.
True.
Yeah.
I think that contextual based arguments are very, very strong.
Publications,
And even if you do find people who abuse the law, which is what I genuinely think happened in the case of Chioma, especially since I'm a customer experience consultant, those kinds of feedback is what we live for. We beg clients for that. 1001 things could have gone wrong. It could be that particular production batch was, there was, like I said on various TV channels, it was just something that went overboard. And most of the legal counsel that looked into the case felt that it was a case of using sledgehammer to kill a fly.
Absolutely.
Almost every single legal counsel agreed to that. And then it now became a case of not cyber stalking, and then the filing of case was not even by the company. It was by the IG. I don't understand. Our IG don't do tomato me.
Criminal defamation.
From freedom of speech to
Cybercrime Prohibition Act
from
is
freedom
the
of
state that can
speech to jail.
Exactly.
It's criminal. So that's like, but why would they come? What is the government interest if citizens are private and having a spat? Why would you come into that? There are better things for governments to prosecute.
But then that's why I would always recommend.
Yeah.
Now, Erisco is finding it. They're trying to come back and they've rebranded and debranded and done ads and it's not working. And they say that's the thing about business related defamation. I've worked in because I have seen serious defamation attempts. I promise you. You will see people with official accounts. Just maybe they'll go on Google Play Store. That's their favorite place.
And then they'll be giving you 1 star, 2 stars.
They'll be writing terrible reviews.
Wow.
Now, I've actually had situations, especially in my line of work, where also perception management is part of it. You would see someone who go and say things that never happened. And then you are investigating this individual. And this person does not even exist in your data records. And you now go and try to engage the person personally. And the person say, no, I'll just catch him first. In businesses, no. While I'm for the rights of consumers, it's a two-way street. Consumers are saying shege in the hands of businesses. Businesses are saying shege in the hands of consumers. And I think that this is where the litigation comes into play. Because there has to be balance, right? We've had a situation where, we have had a situation whereby businesses have abused powers so badly that consumers couldn't just take it anymore. Or some consumers will just stop working with them. But some get so bad that some consumers are so angry and they take it to court, right? This is why I always advocate for a fair and just society. Everybody can do whatever they like. But if I feel slighted, I have a right to be able to,
seek redress.
To seek redress, because either that or I take justice into my hands, right?
Yeah.
So
if you don't want.
Exactly. You always fight for a fair and just statement. So those of our social media people out there, I repeat again in case you forgot.
Keyboard warriors.
There is freedom of speech, but to see that freedom after speech, you cannot be guaranteed. That's what our uncle Idi Amin said one time ago. Oh my goodness! And our legal counsel here, and our barrister, and so he's also a social media person, and a TEDx speaker. In case you know him, find him out.
What's your heart?
Find him on, TEDx to listen to his speech as well. So please take be smarter about your social media approaches. Be very, very, do your research, and while emotions cannot be taken out of context, but sometimes you can lose your cool, but still use your head while you're losing your cool. That's what I think about the situation.
Yeah, I agree. So, thank you, Sesi. Thank you, Priscilla. So on social media, ensure that you are smart, right? Ensure that you understand the context of what you are writing so that tomorrow your word is not used against you. They've done screenshot already. That's the problem. You will delete it, but people have done screenshot already and it has gone far already. So be very careful of what you say. And, when you talk about other people, you have to also put yourself in their shoes. It takes a mental toll on people, right? You have your friends calling you or your family calling you. You might not know because you are not in the shoes of that person. You might feel that person is exaggerating about the word that you used against them. You might feel they're exaggerating, but if it happens to you, I promise you that if it also happens to you, you are going to be upset. You can't imagine writing something, someone calling you a rapist online, and then there is no how, and then you see screenshot on your WhatsApp, your family WhatsApp, your friends, people are calling you, your phone, you will almost run crazy and mad. That's what is going to happen. So tell me why that person is not justified to seek legal counsel and seek money or whatever. And apology might not even do it because the damage has been done already. Some people will still look at you in a different light because of that one thing that has been said. So please be careful about your words. Write it in context. Be smart, because the other people at the other point will do their own job. That's just the truth. They'll do their own. So thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Priscilla. Thank you, Sesi. We are glad to have you.
We're raising our glass.
So we're going to do, as our culture, we're going to raise our glass to, I think, freedom of speech. Yes. So freedom of speech. Yes. Yeah.
Raise a glass of wine, anything you want. Raise a glass of vodka.
So ensure that
but freedom after speech.
Freedom after speech, yes. It's not guaranteed though. So that you don't talk finish and before you know you're handcuffed. And then all your social media followers that they were giving you ginger.